I think so. It's been busy. Real estate right now coming up, so. Well, last year just, last time I had 5 televisions left. The meeting, you know. It's not easy to sound like.
You're waiting in the parking lot. He's waiting in the parking lot.
Usually it's turning right at 7. Really? Yeah, it's wasting a minute of billing. Look at it. Oh, this-
Yeah, it must be stuck over there. Oh my gosh, it's fucking creeping on.
Wait for a minute. All right, so who we have up there? We've got Paul and Shot.
And,
Jeff should be coming, I believe. Okay. Well, it is 7 o'clock, so why don't I not wait?
yep.
All right, everybody, I would like to call the regular council meeting of March 13th to order at 7 p.m. Would you please stand for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Terry, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Everman,
Here. Here.
Mrs. Cyrus Black, Mr. Yaki,
Here.
Mr. Richmond,
Here.
Mr. Vincent.
Here. Okay, thank you. Next up on the agenda is reading and disposal of the journal. Does anybody, let's start with the special council meeting. Because that took place in advance of the regular council, or excuse me, yeah, that was earlier on March 6th. We had a special council meeting. The minutes were in the packet. Are there any edits to those minutes? Motion to approve. Second. Okay, we have a motion to approve by our council president, seconded by councilperson Irish Glass. Would you please call the roll?
Mr. Everman,
Yes.
Mr. Fish,
Yes.
Mrs. Irish Glass. Yes. Mr. Yankee,
Yes.
Mr. Richmond,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes. Okay, sorry, I probably should have done the regular council meeting first. I don't put that, but I don't think it matters. Next, we have the February 14th regular council meeting minutes. Are there any updates or changes that anyone would like to make to those minutes? Yes.
My name is mentioned throughout, and I wasn't here
Oh,
on that approvals and.
oh, I forgot to delete you.
Okay.
Okay, so that's, well, that's. Just talking about.
On the vote, like on the voting, the motions?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so that would be in every case. Geez, thank you, Councilperson Glass on that. There's Glass on that. We appreciate that. Anybody else have other edits? No?
Motion to approve as amended.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion approved as amended from our council president, Councilman Richmond. Sherry?
Mr. Everman,
Yes.
Mr. Fish,
Yes.
Mrs. Irish Glass.
Yes.
Mr. Yankee,
Yes.
Mr. Richmond,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes.
Okay, third item on the agenda is action upon any matter which any resident may wish to present to council this evening. Are there any residents? Do we see anybody online? Anybody here? I see shaking of the heads. Okay, so we do not. So I will move on to reports and communications from the mayor and other municipal officials. I'll start with my report. I really just have a couple quick things to share with you. Since our committee of the whole, when I updated you last. So the April 8th eclipse planning continues. I'm getting excited about it. We have the Kelly truck confirmed. We're just getting the paperwork, make sure we got the insurance and all that stuff together. Our law director has looked at the Cuyahoga County requirements. It looks like we don't have any special requirements for this gathering because we're doing a food truck. We're not serving food ourselves. It's a fairly simple event. I do not have an update as to the number of those that have signed up. I don't know, maybe I could call an audible to see if have you heard any updates, Lori?
I haven't heard anything. I can always text Shayna though and find out. She's
Sure.
in charge of the registry.
Okay, so.
She has
wait-
access, I should say.
Yes, I did email her, but it was rather late today, so I haven't heard back from her. But if you do hear something by the end of the meeting, we'd love to have it. So remember, I think it was 143 as of last time, but I bet you it's up. And I haven't registered, and I've got at least 4. If my kids come in town, it might be more, so we'll see. And then the second thing, I just wanted to alert everybody, I received a call this week from the mayor of Orange, Jed Klein. He informed me that a property at 4799 Lander Road, where the New Song Church building is, there is a proposal to develop that property. The property is a little over 13 acres and currently zoned U1, which means there are 1.5 acre lots zoning there. There's a developer that is proposing 3/4 of an acre lots, which would allow them to do, I believe the number is 17 units in there. There'd be a road that went in and some type of cul-de-sac in the back. The reason I wanted to bring it to your attention is because it does border 3 properties in Moreland Hills. I have communicated with our building inspector about that. He's reviewed it, and it's the property, those houses on our lots are near the street. They're on Sterncrest. The border between the houses and where the property line is quite long. So initial review, just a quick look by Paul, is that he doesn't think there'd be concern by these residents. So there'll be buffer beyond that. But it's just a project that is just starting. It's going in front of the council this week, I understand. I haven't heard additional feedback. But then if they recommend it to planning, the way they work is it'll go to council, then they'll send it to planning. And then if planning wants to advance it, there would be public hearings, and then it would go to the voters to change the zone. So this is a longer process, but I just wanted you to be aware. If you hear anything, you can respond to that. Yes, we've heard about it. The mayor has talked with us. When notifications do go out to the residents that border it within orange, the 3 properties that are in Moreland Hills will also be notified. So I'm ensuring that Paul is working with their building department on that. So, yes, sir.
Is it only residential that they're developing?
It's only residential, yes. Yes, that's my understanding. It was only a conversation on the phone, but then I went and looked, and I'm like, I bet you that's Sterncrest, because I kind of know the area a little bit. But if I learn more, as I learn more, I'll certainly keep council informed of that. That's what I have for this evening. Let's see, if I move on to our police chief, is he up there? I do not see the police chief.
He's gonna be absent today.
Yes, I think he might.
Did he tell us that?
Something for his family.
Yeah.
If he told us that.
Oh, I think you're right. I think
That's funny.
he has something for his daughter. I think you're exactly right. Thank you for reminding me of that. So we wish the police chief well. I'll move on to the service report from Mr. DeWater. Do you have a report this evening?
We started just time-consuming project today. We are actually removing all the sand from the 2 sand fillers down at Green Tree Treatment Plant. We did let the EPA know they're doing that last week after an overflow report. Our northern bed is 95% complete already, and they should finish up the southern bed by the end of this week. We took it all the way down to the piping, cleaned out each bed completely, and are going back with all the large stone, the pea gravel, the sand, everything back to the specifications from the plant operations. So that's what I have tonight. If anybody has
Any questions for Mr. DeWater? None from me. Thank you, Ted. I appreciate it. Looks like Jeff is up there. I don't see him, but I'm going to call on him. Mr. Pilarski, do you have a report this evening? Engineer report.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mayor. The only thing I want to report on is the stair project. I redesigned it. It's out to bid again starting tomorrow. The stairs behind the cabin, we're going to reuse the deck at the bottom. We're going to redo the decking on it and put new rails on there, and then build new stairs from that point up. So that'll save some money. And then the other set of stairs, the north set of stairs is going to be constructed out of treated wood. So that will reduce costs also. I don't have a cost for you at this time, but I'll have it in the next couple of days after I estimate it. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate I did have a chance to speak with Jeff earlier in the week about him working on that and our desire to get the cost down. So thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Let's see, next up would be the finance report. Mr. Shaw, do you have a report this evening?
Mayor, I do not have a report tonight. No changes from last week, so I think we're still good.
Okay, so a budget proposal that we have is the hottest, latest and greatest.
It sure is.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Shaw.
You're welcome.
I'll move along then to the building department. Mr. Kowalczyk, I see you up there. Do you have a report this evening?
Sure, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say I've had a couple inquiries regarding Moreland Commons. People have called up and said, boy, who's ever building that new house sure is building a big one. Actually, it's not a single family. That's the first of the villas. There's actually 3 units within that. And then you've also noticed, if you've gone down Chagrin Boulevard, there's a lot of site work being done along Chagrin Boulevard. And what they're actually doing is, when they were trying to sell some of those units that backed up against Chagrin Boulevard, some of the prospective buyers just didn't feel there was a good enough buffer between the back of their units and Chagrin Boulevard. So the developers come forward and they're making a much more substantial buffer along Chagrin Boulevard.
Oh, wow. Okay. It's good to hear. Thank you. Any questions from Mr. Clausen? All right. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate it. Last of the municipal officials will be our law director, Mr. Hannah. Do you have a report this evening?
I do not, Mayor.
Okay, no report this evening from Mr. Hannah. So I will move on. Appointments and confirmations. My understanding, we have none this evening. Communications, petitions, and claims, none on the list. That will move us to reports of committees. The first one is the BZA. Actually, we didn't have BZA, so it would be the Planning Commission report for March 4th. Mr. Richmond?
Thank you, Mayor. So the planning commission has had 3 items on the agenda. Garden shed at 33855 Jackson Road, exterior addition by way of a porch and a pergola at 145 North Strawberry, and a detached garage, attached covered patio, and a pickleball court at 10 Old Sound Lane. There were no engineering comments. Our architect, reviewing architect, approved all of those. And just FYI, we didn't see any issues that cropped up a couple meetings ago regarding a potential pickleball court, as this one is bounded on 3 of its 4 sides by the existing house and or the new garage. And the one side that it was not bounded by it, I think, was over 200 feet to the closest neighbor. And that is my report.
Thank you, Mr. Richmond. Any questions on the planning for Mr. Richmond? No. Okay, well, thank you. I'll move on to facilities. There was a meeting on March 5th. Mrs. Howard-Glass, would you like to give a report this evening?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'm just gonna have everyone refer to the meeting minutes for complete details, but a couple of highlights include the brick sidewalks and plumbing being worked on at Village Hall. We continue to have clogging challenges with a pump station within the village. Jeff Polarski reviewed the live telemetry monitoring of the stations with the committee. And last but not least, we have the flow monitoring bids went out and we received 4. And Mr. Polarski is recommending KEM company for the Jackson Valley sewer flow monitoring at a cost of $29,285, which is the lowest bid. So if there aren't any questions about that report, I will make a motion to allow the mayor and village engineer to enter into an agreement with KEM company for the flow meter monitoring.
Second.
I have one question.
Oh, yes.
Now, do you know, or maybe Jeff knows, if for the monitoring, if are they gonna do monitoring of the meters during the 3-month period? Because sometimes they go out and you don't know it, and then there's a blank and you don't get the data. Do you know what they do there? I know that they're the low bidder, but
Yes.
I've had Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
they're, part of the specifications was they need to do a on-site check 1 week after installation and then every
Okay.
2 weeks thereafter. And they are, they're connected via cell.
Yeah.
So you can basically dial in and see how they are functioning at any time.
Okay. Okay, sometimes you don't look and, it's, then the other related question is who's reviewing the data? I assume that's CVE. But like, it's just data coming and then who's reviewing it for, for what is it telling us?
We're gonna use it to see, excuse me, for each water or sewer shed area, get some rain dependent infiltration inflow factors. So we can see where the majority of it's coming in. And that's gonna be done by a sub-consultant, Hazen and Sawyer.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, that's good. All right.
Any other questions?
No,
Dr. Benson?
No, that's it.
Anybody else have any others? Okay, then I think we had a motion by Mrs. Irish Glass, seconded by Mr. Yonke.
Yep.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Everman,
Yes.
Mr. Fish.
Yes.
Mrs. Irish Glass. Yes. Mr. Yaki,
Yes.
Mr. Richmond,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next, we had a roads and safety meeting also on March 5th. And that looks like the report will be given by Mr. Vincent.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I will also refer to the minutes for details. The only thing I want to highlight is two personnel related items. One is, I believe, Chief told us last week, but just for the record, that they have hired an officer effective March 18th, I believe. Officer Newsom starting, so that's great. Finally get that filled. And the other one is we're trying to fill a position, as we know, mechanic, and the ad went out for that position. So just hopefully fingers crossed we'll get any response. I don't know if there is any response yet, Ted. I assume after a week, maybe we haven't heard anything yet, but
We received 3 applications.
Okay.
We're setting those interviews up for March 26th.
okay. And we also have a motion by Mr. Filarski to allow for bids for the asphalt 2024 asphalt program. So I will make that motion on behalf of the committee.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Vincent to allow the engineer to develop specifications advertised for the asphalt program, seconded by Mr. Richmond. Sherry?
Mr. Everman,
Yes.
Mr. Fish.
Yes.
Mrs. Irish Glass,
Yes.
Mr. Yaki,
Yes.
Mr. Richmond,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Parks had a meeting on February 20th. Mr. Yonke, any update?
Yeah, I'll be brief. I know the minutes haven't come out yet, but we'll get those out, when they are done. The commission was, pleased with the stairs, but after we got this was before we got the final, price tag, which we ended up rejecting. So I'm sure once we, I can pass that information along and, discuss it at the next meeting. Their team shares the mayor's excitement with the solar eclipse party. The commission members, well, they do whatever they can do to make it successful. There was some talk about not doing the Easter egg hunt this year just due to the proximity of the eclipse. So it'd be a lot of work for both. But I don't think they've come up with a final decision. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Yonke. Any questions? Okay, I'll move on to the Parks Commission. They met on March 6th. Mr. Richmond.
Great.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Great Commission.
No problem. Yeah, minutes also are not out as yet, but I think 2 will be brief. Basically, first had updates from the mayor regarding the solar eclipse event, as well as the progress towards having Moreland Hills declared a tree city, which the information regarding that was in prior minutes, I believe, that are in your packet. We also talked about the upcoming Greening the Hills and designated shifts to work that. We talked about and asked for new ideas for new initiatives during 2024, and the members are welcome to do that. And we also pledged next meeting to start discussing the survey results particular to the Green Commission. That is my report.
Outstanding. Thank you, Mr. Richmond. Any questions for him? Thank you. Diversity and inclusion met on February 20th. We do not have the minutes yet, but I just real briefly like to say that Mr. Richmond and Mr. Yonke and I did attend that meeting. I'll be brief because we talked about this at committee of the whole, but there was a lot of discussion about their annual report and recommendations. And a number of those recommendations are in process to move forward with implementing. And there are a number of them still that we would need to work through per our discussion at committee of the whole. But, that's what I had for that. Any questions? Well, thank you. All right, so I will move for committees to approval of bonds, contracts, and plats. This evening we have none. So let's move to legislation next. The ordinances and resolutions. Make sure I get these correct. So the first one is ordinance 2024-09. An ordinance establishing the permanent appropriations for the fiscal year 2024 for the Village of Moreland Hills and declaring an emergency. And that one goes to Mr. Emmerman, sir.
Thank you. Now, thanks for assigning me this one. It's an honor to introduce this one, so I appreciate that. I'm not gonna.
Is there sarcasm in there?
No, I was very sincere about it. It is, but when I saw my summary, I thought, oh, well, you trust me with this one, and there's no sarcasm. I do appreciate it. So I'm not going to try and summarize anything that was said at the committee of the whole meeting, because I think, Prashant, you did an absolutely incredible job as you do every year of going over the budget, how it compares to previous years, and how it's developed. So I'll just start by thanking you. I know that there's a lot of work that goes into this, both from you, Mr. Shaw, and all of the departments in the administration. I understand what goes into putting these budgets together, trying to predict what you're going to be spending throughout the year, trying to predict what the revenue is going to be, making sure that we are being fiscally prudent, but yet at the same time making sure that we hold ourselves to a high level of service for our residents. And I think we've really done a great job year after year, and there's credit to you all who put those budgets together and go through it in detail. So I'll just, my main thing is to thank you. So this the total amount is for the budget is $14,494,248.80. So with that, I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
Okay, we have a motion to suspend the rules by Councilman Warren. Please follow.
Mr. Emmerman?
Yes.
Mr. Fish?
Yes.
Mrs. Irish Glass?
Yes.
Mr. Yonke?
Yes.
Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Vincent?
Yes.
Second. Okay, we have some motion to approve by Mr. Emmerman, seconded by Mr. Fish. Please call the roll.
Mr. Emmerman?
Yes.
Mr. Fish?
Yes.
Mrs. Irish Glass?
Yes.
Mr. Yonke?
Yes.
Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Vincent?
Yes.
So I'd like to thank council as well. I won't take a long time, but I know that the administration did a lot of work. Our department heads did a lot of work on that, Prashant as well. And I think we had a great discussion last week, and thank you. I think we'll move forward. We will continue our procedures as normal, that when large expenditures, even though they're in the budget, when the large expenditures are presented, they still come to council for approval. Because I just think that's the prudent thing to do. That's the way we've been doing it for a while, so that will continue. So thank you. The next is ordinance 2024-10, an ordinance authorizing participation in a consortium with the Cuyahoga County Solid Waste District to obtain bids for solid waste transfer and disposal services and declaring an emergency. And that will be presented by Mrs. Irish Glass.
Mayor, just as you said, this is part of the consortium. We do this. I tried to check, it's not annually, but This is a 2-year, or 3-year contract?
Or,
Oh.
4-year.
2-year contract with 2-year.
2 years, sorry, yeah, 2 year.
option. So, the benefit of consortium is the cost provided reductions and, power in numbers, you know. We have the opportunity to participate and assist in choosing a bid for our disposal services, so this, I don't know if you have any questions related to that?
I do not. I would just give my support to it like I probably did last week, which is other communities that have followed this approach and led the way in front of us have experienced cost reductions, and the county is highly recommending that we join the other, how many communities? It's 9?
11.
11 communities in this approach this time, and I'm optimistic that we can save some money. So.
So, with that, I will make a motion to suspend rules.
Okay, we have motions by Mr. Fish.
Mr. Everman,
Yes.
Mr. Fish.
Yes.
Madam Celeste.
Yes.
Mr. Yaki,
Yes.
Mr. Richmond,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes.
And, have a motion to approve ordinance 2024 the 10th. Okay.
Second.
We have a motion approved by the same, seconded by Mr. Vincent.
Mr.
Do you have a question before we call?
So I'm just curious, if we pass this and we join this consortium, then we're committed to the bid that they have, or is there a second step then to?
All this does is give the county solid waste district permission to advertise those bids on our behalf. So those bids probably won't be back in until, I'm gonna say, August, I think we were saying, where it'll come back to council for approval. And each community in the consortium will enter the contract. There is outs in the contract built in. We've been in the rubbish disposal one for 15 years. And it's always worked out, like Mayor said, there's more power in numbers.
Yeah.
It's always worked out. We've been in the next one, the recycling one for 11. So,
So this is like our intent,
Yeah,
this really shows our
yeah.
intent to join, and we have in the past.
Yeah.
But we still have, once the bids come in, we still get to choose.
yes,
Okay.
and we are in our final option year of the current consortium.
Okay,
So there's no more option years available.
yeah.
I think I told the mayor before this consortium was put together, and I think Prashant will remember this. It was whatever the market there, the communities would call around to, whether it be BFI or Republic, and say, what will you take our trash for, or stuff like that. And that's how they did the bids then, but this has always been better for us.
Okay.
Makes
All right.
sense.
Yeah, I was fortunate to be able to go to the meeting with Ted this year to see the other communities there and hear from them and talk to them and learn more about this menu, or I don't know what you want to call it, but the menu, because it's a little confusing at first until you kind of really understand, because there's a different commodity price for each recycling stream, and they change. But overall, I think like we talked about at the whole, because we're sharing the risk of that commodity change with the hauler, we're able to reduce our costs overall rather than having them price it so they insulate themselves from all the risk we're giving them. So it looks like we do have a motion in a second.
Mr. Everman,
Yes.
Mr. Fish.
Yes.
Mrs. Cyrus Glenn.
Yeah.
Mr. Yaki,
Yes.
Mr. Richmond,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I will move on to 2024-12. An ordinance to approve and adopt current replacement pages to the codified ordinance. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
There's a couple of ones. Oh, did I miss it? Sorry. I'm trying to move too fast. I apologize. Number 11, let me do 11 first. An ordinance authorizing participation in a consortium with the Cuyahoga County Solid Waste District to obtain bids for recycling processing services in an emergency. And my apologies, I realize there's two ordinances for the same general contract. So that one will go to Mr. Young.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief. This is essentially the same situation that Councilperson Irish Glass just detailed, just through recycling. And Mayor, I did the same thing. I first opened 10 and read it, then I opened 11 and read it, and then I'm like, wait, this is the same. But then anyway, so.
And then they were renumbered.
Yeah. We'll get it done. So just
So it was one meeting.
to save time, I don't have a lot to add about the benefits of the program. So with that, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules.
Yeah, we have mentioned suspend the rules by Mr. Young, seconded by Mr. Vincent.
Mr. Ammerman?
Yes.
Mr. Fish?
Yes.
Mrs. Irish Glass?
Yes.
Mr. Yankee?
Yes.
Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Vincent?
Yes.
And I would like to make a motion for passage.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion for passage by the same, seconded by Mr.
Can I make one comment? Just,
Yes, you may make.
we talked about this at road and safety, and so the minutes of road and safety, I read them yet, you have some more details and handouts, which Ted provided us at that meeting about these two programs, that just, if you want to go back, and there were some nuances of like the rates and like the components of the rates and things like that. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, you want to look at it. Second look, it's there. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you call the roll?
Sure. Mr. Ammerman?
Yes.
Mr. Fish?
Yes.
Mrs. Irish Glass? Mr. Yankee?
Yes.
Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Vincent?
Yes.
Okay, now we'll now move on to 2024-12, an ordinance to approve and adopt current replacement pages to the codified ordinances and declaring an emergency. Mr. Fish.
Thought I had this, then I thought I had the truck, then I realized I had this again. I'm confusing me. So, it's simpler than I originally thought. So, section 1 is basically that Sherry listed all the ordinances we created here at the council. And section 2 of this is the, all the changes that were done by the state that we have to legally match up with. So with that, are there any questions? Then I would like to make a motion to suspend the rules.
Okay, we have a second.
Somebody help me out here.
Mr. Ammerman?
Yes.
Mr. Fish?
Yes.
Mrs. Irish Glass?
Yeah.
Mr. Yankee?
Yes.
Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Vincent?
I hope I get a second on the motion to pass.
Second.
There we go. There.
I think it was Mr. Emmer. I think I was called by Mr. Emmer. Close.
Mr. Ammerman?
Yes.
Mr. Fish?
Yes.
Mrs. Irish Glass?
Yeah.
Mr. Yankee?
Yes.
Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Vincent?
Yes.
Okay, thanks all. We're gonna move on to 2024-13. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to purchase one 2023 Chevy Tahoe police pursuit vehicle from Tim Lally Chevrolet for the police department and declaring an emergency, and that is for Mr. Vincent.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This one, just note first that the 2015 Chevy Tahoe is going up on both deals, so it will offset the cost of this ordinance. But that one was determined to be needed to be decommissioned because it's not repairing. But this one, the chief told us at committee of the whole, I believe, last week that it's a 2023 model, even though it's new. So we're getting a better deal on it. So the amount is $43,740. And I don't have much more to say on it than that, but I hope that if you have any questions, you can ask. I will try to answer.
Sure. I have a question.
Yeah.
When we enroll the new 2 police officers that we're trying to get, will we need vehicles for them or are they replacements and no? We're gonna be an additional cost.
We should not have to have additional vehicles. We will need additional uniforms. I mean, uniforms are not inexpensive, so because they'll have custom uniforms. But not every police officer has their own vehicle. They share vehicles due to the shifts. So he's been maintaining that fleet. We are actually down 2 officers. So even with these 2, in spite of the fact that we approved an additional officer to replace the school resource officer, will still be 1 less officer than we were at full force before we lost Tony Buzican. So no, I don't expect to have to purchase any new vehicles. He said this will be the last one, I believe, for a couple of years.
Just let me answer, because I wasn't sure if this was going away.
Yes,
There is a paper going away,
So
yes.
that is still the same number. I thought maybe we were getting this because we had the opposite. Okay,
Okay, I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
second it.
David, and Mr. Richmond, seconded by Mr. Fish. Please call roll.
Mr. Emmerman,
Yes.
Mr. Fish.
Yes.
Mrs. Irish Black. Mr. Yaki,
Yes.
Mr. Richmond,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes. And motion for passage, please.
Second.
Close. I
Your
think
call.
we have a motion and a second by the same parties.
Mr. Emmerman,
Yes.
Mr. Fish.
Yes.
Mrs. Irish Glass. Mr. Yaki,
Yes.
Mr. Richmond,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes.
Okay, our last ordinance this evening is 2024-14. An ordinance authorizing change order number 1 with CA Agresta Construction Company for the 2023 drainage program and declaring an emergency. And that'll be presented by Mr. Vincent.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, this is a change order of 11,000. Put the wait from it, apologies, $11,290.75 to basically account for additional pavement and additional piping that was needed. Sort of a summary of the, like we usually do, looking at the quantities. So no changes in bid prices, just more of that than originally thought there would be. I don't think there's much more to highlight besides that. Jeff, if you want to add anything, feel free. If you're still there. But I don't, if anybody has any questions. For an answer.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's about it. Rick, just extra pavement and a little bit of extra pipe that were performed on the job.
Okay, I'll make a motion to suspend. Rules.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Vincent, seconded by Mr. Yaki. Please call roll.
Mr. Emmerman,
Yes.
Mr. Fish.
Yes.
Mrs. Irish Glass.
Yes.
Mr. Yaki.
Yes.
Mr. Richmond,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes. Motion for passage.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion for passage and a second by the same parties. Please call roll.
Mr. Emmerman,
Yes.
Mr. Fish.
Yes.
Mrs. Irish Glass. Mr. Yaki,
Yes.
Mr. Richmond,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That completes the ordinances. So let's move on to miscellaneous business. Do any members of council have any miscellaneous business this evening to discuss?
Yeah, just one quick comment. I just wanted to, thank you for bringing the Eclipse event, to us and everybody that's been working on it. You know, when first mentioned it, I thought, wait, the rest of Cleveland is doing it. Why are we doing it? And then I started thinking about it more, and I think the numbers are now swelling to hundreds of 200,000 downtown. I thought, why isn't it so nice that we can celebrate and participate in this event 10 minutes from home with our neighbors and friends, and so I appreciate your leadership.
Well,
on this.
thank you, Mr. Richmond. I did attend, I didn't say it, but since you brought it up, I did attend a press conference this week down at the Natural History Museum. And they're doing all kinds of stuff. They have an entire weekend of events. You probably know that the women's Final Four is that weekend, and that the Guardians home opener is starting at 5 o'clock after the eclipse. So it's going to be a crazy weekend. There were other mayors there. The press was there. There was a little thing on the news about it. Chris Rodain spoke, and the Metro Parks were there, and same with Destination Cleveland. Dan Gilbert was there. But it was nice to see all the things that they're doing. But I think you're right. I think the big intense stuff is going to be downtown. And not that ours won't be busy, but I think it would be nice to be 5 minutes from home or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Anybody else have this business? Okay, by any resident, I think there's a resident that has some. Thank you.
I have the update that you asked for. I text Shana. Shana is of course, the chair of the Green Commission, and 3 commission chairs are working on this. She's operating a registration. We've only put it out there twice. There's 187 people total, 109 adults, 55 vehicles, 78 children, and 3 vehicles need handicap parking. And so, she did note that if we push some more, I'm sure we'll get a lot more. But I think almost equal number of children to adults is because schools are out. And CMSD also just closed, so there'll be children everywhere.
How many vehicles did you say?
55 vehicles
55.
and 3 need handicap parking, but I'm not sure if they're included in the total 55.
Okay, I want to share that with our police chief since he's not here, but I will get that to him. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lori.
The boot truck, will that be able to handle that many people?
Well, I've been updating, they may run out of food. I've been updating, it's Kelly Potts who's doing it.
Okay.
I think many of you know Greg Potts' daughter-in-law. She has a truck. I told her last count was 144, so she was excited about that number. I mean, it's not up that much. But I guess if she runs out, she runs out of food. It's not free food. People will need to pay for their food. And she hasn't finalized the menu. I think I mentioned that last time, but I believe she's known in this little, it's not a truck, it's more like a Winnebago. She's known for these gourmet grilled cheeses. So they have all these different flavors, ones, and she can make them up fast. My wife has hired her for events, so she likes using Kelly. So I can't say it's only gonna be that, but you know, I told her I trust you. Do what you think people are gonna eat. I'm no expert, you know.
So for parking, we mentioned that a lot of people park at the Metro Park.
Yes, I've had Todd speak with the Metro Parks, and I even talked to Brian Zimmerman this week when I saw him at the museum. We are free to use that line of parking, and if we need to use more, I'm sure we can, but you know where we typically park when we have the fishing day, and that's where we're gonna direct people. There'll be handicap parking down near the pond, and if people need to get up top that are handicapped, they can drive up there, drop off, and come back down and park. And that top lot will be only for the food and for open space for people to stand, and then the music will be under the pavilion. That's the plan presently, so we'll see.
Quick question concerning parking, and I don't know if we need it. Has there been any thought of contacting Western Reserve Land Conservancy to see if we can use that?
I have not talked to Rich, but it's a good idea. I'll take note of it. I'll take note of that.
It's nice, it's on the same side, people can
Yeah.
walk.
There's a little bit of a walk, but it's not that.
Oh, there's a
Yeah. I don't know that he's doing anything. And I had him on my list to call. I didn't get it done this week, but I'll call Rich Cochran. Thank you for that, Bill. I appreciate that. That's a good reminder. Okay, is there any other miscellaneous business anyone would like to bring up? And I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Okay, we have a motion to adjourn by Mr. Young, seconded by Mr. Fish. Sherry?
Mr. Emmerman?
Yes.
Mr. Fish?
Yes.
Mrs. Irish Glass?
Yes.
Mr. Yankee?
Yes.
Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Benson?
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Good.
Appreciate it. Got it.
Just like pepper
Great.
right?
Very,
How much you paying?
Okay. I did that. I said. Yeah, I took what we took last year and I changed the date. I was like, you know, like, you're working over. Yeah, then we just did it. So it's always going I know.